ways. Okay? At that time, you can select the different ways. So your query optimizer will decide how you travel. Similarly, if we convert this problem into a table, so this is an employee table. This is a department table. This is the work on table. When you join table, for each table, how many different ways of accessing? 4 different ways. 4. When you join two tables, is there any different way? Yes. For example, I quickly explain, but we will see the detail. Like the employee table, department table. For each, check all the department. And next, employee, check all this. This is called nested loop join. And another one is, I don't have to check all the table. Instead, I'm going to use the department index ID. So for each employee, check employee. How many loop? It's called a single loop join. I will explain details later. And another approach is a sort by the DNO. Sort by DNO. Then merge on the top. For example, when the GA, upload your quiz grade, so ordered by last name. Then your canvas is ordered by last name from the top. Match. Because not all students take the quiz. So it's not one-to-one, it's exactly matching, but from the top we can match. That is called a sort merge join. So roughly there are 3 join methods. So 3. Then just like this one, there are different ways of the join. Works on first, department first, then followed by employee. How many? 3 factorial. So in this case, 4 times 4 times 4 times 3 times 3 times 3 factorial times 2. Easily, when you join the 3 tables, so easily 1,000 and 2,000 different ways of accessing the data. Okay, same thing. In case you have the many index, it will be exponentially increased, really exponentially increased. But what query optimizer need is only one path, one route. Which one? Expensive one? Cheapest one? The fastest one. Okay? So query optimizer select one fastest one. Then how to determine the fastest? At that time, we will consider cost. Cost is not money because we don't know money. Cost is not the time, we don't know. Instead, the most expensive cost to process this one, to access the data is, we need the memory, we need the CPU, we need the transfer rate, but most expensive, the computer resource when you access the data is CPU. CPU is fast, very fast. I/O. So we are, especially what kind of I/O? Secondary storage I/O. So we will count secondary storage I/O. So we will calculate for each method how many I/O, number of I/O. Then add up all 1,000 case. Calculate the number of I/O. Estimate such I/O. Then select the highest one or lowest one. Lowest one. That is called the cost-based optimizer. CBO. You probably heard about the CBO for the database, in the database. So CBO means cost-based optimizer. Optimizing what? Finding fastest route. How? Calculating the cost. What is the cost? It's only I/O. Number of I/O. Because the others are, you can ignore. It's sure. Like the memory I/O, you don't have to worry about. The network transfer, you don't have to worry. The bottleneck is only the secondary storage I/O. Then another, because it's as you imagine, it will take a long time to calculate all this one. It's called the RVO. So there are two main approaches for the optimizer. RVO means it's a rule-based. For example, when nobody did such a way to make the plan of your trip, right? Instead, when you travel to somewhere, if there exists the cheapest airline, you always take this one. So I have the rule. So like the first, finding cheapest airline. Second rule is, if not, the train, whether there exists a train. Third one, if not, the limo. Otherwise, private limo. So this is my criteria, rule. So you can apply only the rule. So, for example, which way is the fastest way to access the data? Primary key. Using the primary key is the fastest one. Which one is the lowest one? Last one. Full table scan or brute force or linear search. This is the slowest one. Among them, there are many rules. For example, the Oracle database provides 15 different rules. Then apply. Is there any primary key in the where condition? If yes, use it. Okay? Then simple. So this is a rule-based optimizer. Which one is better? Rule-based optimizer or cost-based optimizer? Depends on. So it depends on what? For example, if we need to calculate a lot, if this is overhead, then rule-based optimizer is better. However, rule-based optimizer, if your data is changing, or query is changing a lot, okay? Sometimes it works, sometimes not. So nowadays, mostly cost-based optimizer is suggested. Their accuracy is like 80–90%. But sometimes the other 10% cause the problem. So each DBMS provides the kind of alternative way. Majority is a cost-based optimizer, but you can use your idea in your query. Okay, it's called a hint. If you are using the database SQL, you probably heard about hint. Hint means I'd like to hint, give the hint to the optimizer. Because I believe this way is faster, so I can give the suggest. You can travel to New York, the train first. Okay. No matter what situation it happens, it will take the 90 minutes. So and cheap. So you can suggest. You can consider only for example, travel to the New York train, something like that. And in the train, in the New York, you can use the subway. It's giving the hint. So this is a hint to address that problem. Mostly cost-based optimizer, but nowadays the rule-based optimizer is the minor. But small database still use a rule-based. So in this class, we will learn very basic cost-based optimizer. How the query optimizer determine the cost. In other words, cost means what? Ion. We will calculate the number of ion. Then after we calculate all of them, select lowest ion. Okay. So what time is it now? So time off? Okay. So before you leave, so why don't you start at your home because run out of time. Then on Wednesday we will continue for each and the real case of the query optimizer. Hopefully we'll finish the query optimizer by the next week, the Monday. By the way, next week, Wednesday, we do not have a class because of Thanksgiving. Only this class. So if you are taking any other class on Wednesday, in other class, you need to ask the instructor. Do not say Professor Lee cancel. But many of the professors cancel, but it totally depends on your instructor. Okay. But officially the school is on. So, but we in this class we do not have a class on Wednesday for next week Wednesday. But this week we will have. Okay. Before you leave, why don't you take the one for each? Okay. Thank you, and see you next week.